What's up, everybody? We are live here on Talking Mopars, a Friday night live, and I have a special guest that I've been trying to get on the show for a while, and the scheduling didn't quite work out. And she went on my friend's podcast, the Dodge Pod. She was with Berto over there, and she told some great stories. But I feel like because the Dodge Pod is more of a truck podcast, and I love it, by the way, um, that it was only fitting that she come on Talking Mopars and talk Mopars. And this young lady has a bunch of Mopars. This isn't a joke. She has a collection. It's bigger than mine, and I'm sure a lot of you listening are going to be kind of jealous of what she has. So, without further ado, my special guest, Michaela Brass, also known, probably better known as Miss Mopar. Bam! There she is.
Hello.
How is it going, Michaela?
It's going great. It's
Awesome.
like springtime sort of here. I think we're going to get like a little small winter, but the streets are clean. So like car show season is, I can taste it. So
Yeah,
I can't be
fun.
mad.
And you're joining us. Thank you for joining us late. I'm on the
Yeah,
West Coast. Michaela's on the East Coast, so she's joining us super late. So hopefully she doesn't fall asleep on the show. And
I'm good.
I'll
I'm
try.
pumped.
I'll try not to keep you here too long. But
Sounds good.
we'll have a fun night talking Mopars, and later on we'll open the chat. And if anybody has any questions for Michaela, um, feel free to ask them. So, Michaela, you
Yeah,
are a woman of Mopar. And
I
one
am.
thing I love about women of Mopar is they're serious. They're not just the girls that just pose with the cars or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I love true Mopar enthusiasts that are women because they're you're like a very rare breed. So it's nice to talk to you guys because thankfully I know enough women of Mopar that I can have a good conversation with, and they know more about Mopars than me, and I love it. So I I was telling you before we got on screen that I, being a father of a daughter who's almost 3, I really want to let her grow up around Mopars, but I don't want to push her so much that she gets turned off by the Mopars. I want her to be, excited to go work with dad in the garage or go to dad with car shows and stuff. So I'm curious, what got you started into Mopars? Because I know you have a really close relationship with your dad.
Yeah. Well, my dad's awesome. And Mopar has been a thing in my family for many generations now. And I can remember the exact moment that like you just something ignites in your blood and you're like, yeah, like this is part of who I am. And I was probably about the same age as your daughter, 3 or 4. And my dad took me into town for an ice cream cone in his 70 Challenger, and the top was down. And it was like that kind of summer where the air is still sticky. And I got my little vanilla kitty cone. And when we were driving home, I remember he drove past our street, and I was always like a nervous child. And I was like, why did he just drive past our street? And my dad looked at me and he shifted gears and he said, how about we go for a quick little ride? And I just remember like all this like worry faded away. And I was just like wind in my hair, like that smell of carbureted gas and the way that that car responded every time he shifted. I was small, but like something in my heart just changed that day. And I was like, I need to have this. I need to do this thing that my dad is doing. And I looked over at him and he was so cool. I mean, my dad's a cool guy, but like in that moment, he was just such a cool guy. And I was like, I'm going to be just like my dad.
That's
And here
awesome.
we are.
So from that moment forward, you were the daughter who was going out to the garage, wanting to work with dad on the cars and stuff.
Yeah. So my dad still to this day dailies an 85 Power Wagon,
Nice.
Power Rim. And he put air conditioning in it one summer. And I remember being out there with him, it maybe wasn't that late, but to me, it felt like all hours of the night. 'Cause I just wanted to be there with him while he was working on his truck. And I mean, that just sort of stuck. Like, if my dad was out in the garage, I wanted to be with him. If he was out plowing snow, I wanted to be with him. If he was driving one of his cars to a car show, I wanted to be right there with him. And it just like, I don't know, it's in my blood.
That's awesome. What kind of cars did your dad have in his collection? Was it just the 70 Challenger at the time, or?
So my dad has, and probably our family's prized possession is a 62 Chrysler 300.
Oh,
My
wow.
dad's parents met working at a Chrysler dealer. My pop-up was a technician and my grandma worked in the office. And their boss, my grandma didn't have a ride to work, and their boss said, "Oh, Frank lives near you. He can pick you up and bring you into work." And that's how they met.
Oh, wow.
And my papa was driving a Chevy at that time, but he traded it in, and him and my grandma drove the '62 Chrysler off the showroom floor at a local dealer to us. And that stayed in our family its whole life. My dad bought it back when he was in high school for $65 from my great uncle, who my pop-up had sold it to for a couple of years, and he restored it. And so that sort of started it all. So
Okay.
that's our, like, if there was a car that defined the Brass family, it's the Bermuda Turquoise 1962 Chrysler 300. It's a non-leather car, 383. They use it to tow camper cross country. Like,
Oh, wow.
it's just, it's such a big part of our family history. So that's the standout. But then, when you're a kid, the '70 Challenger convertible is like,
Yeah.
you're like, "Dad, pick me up from school in the Challenger. Pick me up," It's like a super cool car. And then he has this '85 Power Ram, and we still tool around in what was my mom's '99 Durango. So we don't like to let things go. We just
Yeah.
really we keep them till they die.
That's awesome. How often do you get to cruise the 300? Does your dad let you drive it around?
I've never driven it, and I don't
Oh, really?
ever I don't ever want to drive it, because
Yeah.
if something ever happened to that car,
Oh, gosh.
I've ridden shotgun in that car for more miles than I can count. My mom used to drive it to car shows for my dad,
Oh,
because he would drive the Challenger, the stick shift. She couldn't
yeah.
drive that, and I'd ride with her, and I'd be worried the whole time, like, oh,
Oh,
stressful. So
all
I
right.
will admire it from afar. That's his car to drive.
That's funny. I Hey, respect. I don't I'm that kid is like, "Oh, let me drive it," and then God forbid something bad happens, you know?
Anything else. I learned how to drive stick shift in my dad's Challenger. Like
Oh my
that,
god.
I can, but that '62 Chrysler, I never want to be responsible. Like, no way.
Man, I wish I had a story like that. I learned how to drive a stick in a '79 Rust Bucket Honda Accord in my grandma's driveway. Oh, man, you outdid me there. I It's funny because when I talk to people that have great stories about their parents having awesome Mopars and stuff, I always have to call my dad. Like, "Hey, you should have stepped your game up,
What did
pop."
you do wrong?
I'm like, "Come on, man." I mean, we had a custom Dodge van, like a boogie van, but
Yeah.
which was cool in its own right because 'cause you'd never see them. But, a '70 Challenger convertible, 4-speed. Oh,
Yeah.
amazing car.
It's a
Does he
wicked
still
cool
have it?
car.
Does he still have it?
Yeah.
Oh my
Absolutely.
god.
Yeah.
So
So
wow.
can I tell a tell a side
Absolutely.
story?
Absolutely.
Every year at Carlisle, I get to give a celebrity choice award.
Oh, cool.
And every year I say, I want to pick the car with the coolest story here. Like, I want to get to know somebody.
Yeah.
And not just because it looks cool or it's perfectly restored or it's a survivor. Like, those are all super cool things. But I
Mhm.
love to hear that story behind it. And a couple of years ago, I like walked that show field to walk that show field. And there were so many beautiful cars there. Um, but I was like, you know what? There's one car here that's the reason that guys call me Miss Mopar, and it's this '70 Challenger. Because if I never took that ride with my dad, I would, I just would have never turned into the person that I've become. So I got to give my dad an award for that
Oh,
car, and like I could stop my eyes out right now just talking about it, but like most prestigious moment ever in my whole
yeah.
life, probably.
No, that's awesome.
So
Yeah, you're in
yeah,
Pennsylvania, so you get to go to Carlisle
yeah.
every year. Lucky you.
Every year, 118 miles from my dad's house to the fairgrounds.
Oh, man. I'm
So we
jealous.
don't miss it.
Wow. I That's one on my bucket list. I have to go. Everybody says you got
Ugh.
if you're a Mopar person, you gotta go to Carlisle at least once. I'm like,
It's like the Grand Canyon. Like, you can look at all these pictures of it, but
Yeah, yeah.
until you walk through gate A or whatever, gate 3, whatever, and you just like sort of take it in, it's wild. The first
Wow.
time we went, we walked into the swap meet end of things, and we were like, "Oh, this is cool. There's a lot of cool stuff. Look at that car. Look at that car." And then you kind of walk up a hill a little bit, and you're like, "Holy
Wow.
heaven on earth."
Yeah, I feel like I'm not part of a cool club because I get asked that all the time. "Have you ever been to Carlisle?" I'm like, "No," and they're like, "Oh." Like, oh man, ouch, ouch. So it's definitely on my bucket list. I gotta go.
Yes.
Um, so let's get into your projects.
Okay.
When did you get your project car, your first project? How did you find it? I want the whole story from the
So
beginning.
my very first project car was this 71 Roadrunner, and it's parked in my garage right now. It's still a project car. But as I got older, I kept saying to my dad, I want to restore a car like you did. I really want to restore a car like you did. And um, my dad's cousin had this Roadrunner that he was going to junk, and my dad sort of rescued it. And he said, well, how about we work a deal on the Roadrunner, and then you fix that up and you restore it. And I said, okay, game on. I can't
Yeah.
wait. But this car was so badly rotted that me as a high school kid, I couldn't afford to
Sure.
do any work on it. So I got into college and I was like, I really just want something that I can drive around with my dad to car shows. So I stumbled upon this 72 Charger, and the floodgates sort of opened from there. Um, so I got that car in October of 2010.
Okay.
And when we unloaded it off of the trailer into my yard, I sort of had this like just sheer anxiety attack of what have I done? I spent every penny of my life saving on this car, and it was a mess. It had dead cats in it,
Oh my god.
trees growing out of the intake manifold. It had a full tank of 21-year-old gasoline that like still lit. So we had to figure out how to dispose of it. It stunk so bad. It was like shellac. It like
Oh,
came out like
oh
thick.
god.
It was just awful. But that car didn't need a ton of body work.
Cool.
Everything else my dad could do. So
Yeah.
we sort of started ripping and tearing at it, and it got expedited a little bit because I said to Ed, who runs Chrysler Nationals at
Mhm.
Carlisle, I was like, you know what you need to have? A female owner's display. And I'm just running my mouth. Like, I'm just running my big mouth with these ideas. He's like, oh, yeah, in a couple of years. And it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, I get an email, and he's like, so is your car going to be ready for the female owner's display?
Oh my god.
I guess. so that so that was like 10.5 months I had to finish it.
Oh, wow.
There's still some stuff on the car that needs to be done. Like, I've had weather strip sitting in my garage for years, but you're like, you never drive them in the rain, so you don't really notice.
I come from the ratty Mopar camp, so I'll drive wherever, whenever. Um,
Honestly, I was saying to my dad that's kind of a more fun camp because you don't worry. Like the first day I had my charger out and there was like a cloud in the sky, I was like, just like, and I didn't have any fun because I was worrying the whole time if it was going to rain and if I was going to drive it in the rain and then what was going to happen when I had to clean it. And,
yeah.
I mean, it's worth the headache, long and
Sure,
short of it.
sure.
But like when I take Wild and Blue out the Power Wagon,
Yeah.
you're just like, who cares?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
just fun to drive. There's
Yeah,
no stress about it.
yeah. Everybody has to have that one car that's like no stress, just have a good
Yeah,
time and not worry where you park it. And and it's funny
right?
because in today's day and age, you can drive a pile as long as it's a muscle car or something cool, and people will
Yes.
still think it's cool. Even if it's
Yeah.
rusting, like driving down the
Mhm.
road, just rust falling off it, they're like, cool car. You get thumbs up
Yeah.
everywhere. It's like, okay, cool.
People love the Power Wagon. I think one of the magical things about the fact that I don't care if somebody gets in it with their muddy shoes is that you get that kid at a car show that's so excited.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, this is a cool truck. And you can like open the door and be like, you want to hop in? And their dad takes a picture and they're smiling. And it's just like, it's a cool experience for
Yeah.
them. Like, I think that's some of the magic behind it too, is you're just like, okay, go climb on up there. I don't care if you step on the seats. They have
Yeah.
$12 seat cushions from Pet Boys on them.
That's funny. You did kind of gloss over it. So you're in high school when you find the charger.
I'm in my second year of college. No,
Okay.
wait, my last year of college for the
Okay.
Charger. High
Okay.
school when I got this idea that I was going to restore a car.
Okay, I see. Um,
Hmm.
how did you find it?
On Craigslist,
Nice.
and I'm sitting in the back of my criminal justice class, like scrolling through on my phone. and I saw it, and I'm a B-body girl. That's all I wanted was a B-body girl. You know, I'm looking at Dusters, I'm looking at
Hmm.
Darts, and they're all cool, but I want a big car.
Yeah, yeah.
And I like pop out of my seat, and my professor's like, "Oh, Miss Breath, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I have to call my dad." So I run out and I call my dad, and I'm like, "Dad, you got to get up to this town. It's like an hour away. Like, you got to go look at this car. Somebody's gonna buy it, and I got to get it before somebody buys it." So my dad is such a trooper that he drives up there to look at it. But the guy that he was not, it was at like a parked outside a shop, so nobody was there.
Oh,
So my dad looks at it, he's like, "Oh, well, let's go up and look at it in the morning." And there we go, trucking up there with a car trailer.
like that's. I didn't go to college, but I can only imagine what I would do if I was sitting in class and I looked over and I saw a girl cruising Craigslist for cars.
For cars, for junker cars.
I might drop to a knee right there. That's amazing. So
I was just such like the weirdo though. Like, I went to a private Catholic school. I had a great college experience, don't get me
yeah,
wrong. Hindsight 2020, would I do it again? But like, I was the weird girl because I'm like, I threw a car show for my senior project.
so did I.
Everybody else is like
My
doing
God,
thesis statements.
that's
And I'm like, I'm
hilarious.
gonna have a benefit car show. Can someone give me the campus insurance so I
That's
can make
awesome.
this happen?
Yeah, I
But
didn't realize I did a car show for my senior project too. I didn't real I had no idea how much was involved in
uh,
having a bunch of cars show up to a parking lot. I was like, insurance? I
yes,
was like, my God, what?
insurance, and still to this day. So I run two car shows, my All Mopar show and the Ambler Auto Show, which is like a street show.
Okay.
And that's even worse because it's like you have to shut down public transit. You have to get all of these like ducks in a row. And then look, I love a good burnout as much as anybody. But the people that aren't throwing this car show, they get all whacked out when you say, "Please don't do a burnout when you leave." Because that wrecks our insurances.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know what I mean? Like, so as much as I love throwing a car show, and as much as I love going to a car show, and as much as
Yeah.
I want to cheer the guys on when they're burning out, pulling out,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm the one that's like, "Please don't,"
Yeah. No,
because
that's
my
tough.
headache will just get bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand what goes into just event planning
No,
these
no,
events. It's insane.
it's wild. Like, so my All Mopar show is we start planning the day. We have the show on a Sunday. Monday, we move all the cars back onto the lot, and Tuesday, we're planning for the next year. And it's like, I love it. It's like
Yeah.
my adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't. And the months come, like, I'm 1 month away from my street show, and I'm like, when am I gonna sleep?
My
I got to
gosh.
get sponsors and vendors and this and that.
Wow. How long have you been throwing the street show?
So my first year was supposed to be 2020, but of
Oh,
course that
yeah.
got out of whack.
Sure.
So last year was my first one chairing that show,
Okay.
which was a cool learning experience because everybody has an opinion, and you kind of like to take everybody's thoughts and perspectives in. Like, the big debate, for lack of a better word, is, rain date or rain or shine, or trophies or no
Yeah.
trophies, professional judging or peer judging, and everybody has thoughts on everything, and they're more than willing to share them with you
Yeah, 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 of course.
in every way, social media, and they'll call you and they'll email you, whatever. And it is really cool to have that kind of feedback, and then to try to take all of those opinions and mold them into a really fan appreciated car show is kind of like a fun challenge for me. Um, but also, like, I'm the kind of girl, like, I don't really care about a trophy. So you get people who are super passionate about getting a trophy. So you kind of have
Yeah,
to, like,
sure.
just, shoe on the other foot, and it's fun. So
Yeah.
this will be my second full show, but All Mopar show I've been running since 2016.
Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's longevity. That's
Hmm.
did you still throw it during the pandemic and all that stuff?
So we lost 2020, and then
Okay.
2021 was supposed to be June, but it got pushed back to August. We had a wicked amount of restrictions
Oh yeah,
here, and like our county butts up against Philly, which is sort of its own animal as far as restrictions. So
yeah,
we were having a lot of hoops to jump through, even in June
yeah,
2021.
yeah. Wow.
So yeah,
But everything's a go for this year.
everything's a go.
Wow.
And we got hit with a hurricane the
Dude, I
day
saw
of
the
the show.
pictures. That's crazy.
Torrential rain from it led up just about the start of showtime. But we have cars come from 7 states.
Wow.
So all of our New York people, all of our Jersey people, they couldn't come. So we got about a third, which I wasn't mad about considering the weather.
Yeah.
But again,
Crazy.
you're at the will of so many other things.
Yeah. That's like this the stress of putting on a car show, like going, all right, is it gonna rain? How many people are gonna show up? Did
Yeah.
we throw all this for nothing? Because some car guys are like, I'm not driving if there's even a cloud in the sky.
Oh, for sure. And then you get a few that like we had a decent showing of classic stuff. A lot of people brought like their modern stuff that they daily drive or that they show. But we had a 70 Roadrunner come,
Nice.
a husband and a wife in a Hemi Cuda and a 67 GTX. And we had I think it was a 69 Dart. My mind's blank a little bit. And then all my family,
Yeah.
we drive them in the rain. Cry about it when you have to clean the black car later, but
let's go back. I still feel like there's more to the story of the little black dress. So you have not even 11 months to build this car to get it ready for a show because Miss Mopar has a big mouth and she mentioned that's funny. So what was that what was that process like? You tell your dad, all right, dad, so what we got going on.
God bless my dad because he's just a trooper. Like,
yeah.
I'm just like, Dad, I need this. And he's like, okay, I need to take the car to paint. Let's load it up on the car trailer. Like, he's just a great sport when it comes to helping me. I have a really fantastic support system in him and my sisters. And my uncle's really talented in the world of all things automotive. So we were able to pull it together. I got that car back from paint the last week of June, and we left for Carlisle July 12th or something like that. So it was a very short window.
Wow. What's that feeling like when you fire that thing up for the first time and you did it? You had that little bit of time and you're going to Carlisle, which is arguably one of the biggest Mopar shows on the planet.
Not for nothing and not to make the podcast sad, but my dad and I finished the engine before, because I was just going to drive it. So we rebuilt the engine and threw it back in the car before we had restored the car. And the night we put it back in, my mom calls us in for dinner. My dad says, it's getting dark. It's a little bit chilly. We'll fire it up tomorrow. And my mom passed away the next day. So unexpectedly. So I didn't touch that car for like a month and a half.
Oh my God.
For me, I've done engines in the meantime that were certainly special, but I think one of the most special things about my 72 is that like that car saved my life. Like I was broken, I was grieving, I was trying to figure out like what is life without a mom?
Yeah.
And with a distraught family, and I'm sort of traumatized and I don't know what's up or down. And the one thing that sort of gave me purpose was like, I'm going to fire up this car.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in that instance, there's a video of it on my YouTube if you ever want to check it out. But it was like, I don't know, it was the first time I smiled in months, the first time I like sort of felt alive, and it just sort of gave purpose to a life that didn't seem to have purpose at that moment.
Yeah.
And I drove it down the driveway. I didn't even have tags on it, so I pulled out on the street. But like, you know what I mean? You're like, what's gonna happen at this point? Like, I'm so happy right now. I don't even care.
Yeah.
So that car, I mean, the story of the little black dress goes so much further than just a car, for me, at least, because it's been so intertwined in these moments of triumph and tragedy in my life that it's like just part of who I am. So to fire that engine off for the first time was like spiritual and magical and emotional all at the same time.
Yeah.
And well,
Wow.
best
That's awesome.
experience of my life restoring that car.
So what you're telling me is the little black dress is going nowhere ever. That's what you're telling me.
Nowhere ever. Well, that car is not perfect, and I know there are a million people in the world be like, I don't like those third gen Chargers. But I'm like, until until you experience what I experienced with this car,
Yeah.
you just don't know. Like,
Yeah.
bury me in it because it's
Yeah.
not going anywhere ever.
That's awesome. I completely understand. So as we kind of brushed over too, you have more than just a little black dress. You've got the Roadrunner that you originally bought. I got to ask you about that. So you've had this project car forever. Your first project car.
Yes.
Is it still in the same condition? What are the plans for that thing?
So that's a car that I want to do the right way. With
Okay.
the 72, I was young, I was in college, I was on a very short time constraint. So there were corners that I cut that I don't want to cut with this car. Because I think that this one, it's a numbers matching car. I want to do my best to keep it that way.
Yeah.
It is super rotted. So a couple of years ago, I picked up a 71 Satellite, which may serve as a donor car. I'm not sure yet. But it's in a nice cement floor garage now. So, it's not sitting out in the brush rotting away like so many people do to these cars that they claim that they're going to fix. And I'm slowly acquiring parts for it. And my dad and I were actually just talking the other day, and I'm like, what's stopping us from just ripping the engine out of this thing and rebuilding it and starting there? Because once you start it, that's like the hardest part,
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So it's always there. I see it every time I walk out of my house. Like it should. Every time I go out through the garage, I look at that car and I'm like, okay, still there.
Yeah.
Still needs to be fixed. So someday we'll get done, but it's going to get done the right way. Like I want, example with the Charger, my engine compartment is not gloss black, it's satin black.
Okay.
So like with the Roadrunner, everything's going to be gloss because I want like just little details like that I wish I would have done on my 72. I'm going to make sure I do on the 71.
Do you have plans to change any of that stuff on the 71 or the 72?
No, maybe someday.
Yeah.
Like right now it's just a perfectly fine cruiser, and I don't intend for it to win trophies, but it wins trophies, and like, so I'm just gonna leave it and focus on the Roadrunner or whatever else comes my way.
Whatever else comes your way. So you have more than just you talked about the Power Wagon. Let's hear the story on the Power Wagon.
So the Power Wagon is a funny story because mine is a 64 panel, which means it has no windows in the back.
Yeah, awesome.
But I say a couple of years ago, and it's been well more than a couple of years ago now, I had a 66 Town Wagon with the windows, with a guy, and he took it, and I was more distraught about the loss of the truck.
Yeah.
So my boss says to me, you could find another one of those trucks easy. There's one parked in my town. And I'm like, there's no way there's a Power Wagon parked in your town. And he's like, oh yeah. So I wrote a note and I'm like, leave this in the guy's mailbox. So the guy sends me an email and he's referring to me as Michael the whole time. So I'm just rolling with it, and I go to look at this truck and I hop out and it's me, and he's like, I was like, hi, Michael. Nice to meet you. And he's like, I had a knee replaced and a shoulder replaced. I can't drive this truck anymore. So I ended up getting my truck because I left a note in the mailbox.
Wow. Awesome. Hey.
My newest Power Wagon, the 69, that found its way to me. It literally found me. A guy called my office and was like, I hear you're the girl that likes big old trucks. And I was like, I guess. That's rumor around town.
Gosh.
Um, and he's like, "Can I show you pictures of this one?" And now I got one.
Wow. I need
So
somebody to call me like, I hear you really want a wing car.
yeah,
Yes, that's me. Wow.
I yes, I would. Where can I pick it up?
Jeez. That's funny.
hmm
So couple trucks, couple B bodies.
Yeah.
Uh, do you have anything else laying around?
I have my new stuff. I have an '05 Wrangler. That was my first car ever.
Okay.
Um, and then I have a 19 Shaker RT
Nice.
Challenger, and I
Is that
have my pickup truck.
the Challenger's got red interior, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah. Isn't that sick? I love red
yes.
interior. God.
Everybody's always ripping on me like, why didn't you get the Scat Pack? I'm like, because when this car pulled off the truck in Destroyer Gray with ruby red
Yeah.
interior, I said, done. I don't even care.
Yeah. No,
It looks so good.
being a family guy now, I got my family, and a Challenger was like, it was really pushing it. I was going online finding videos of guys showing you how to put a car seat in the back. And my wife, as supportive as she was, she's like, come on. And I was like, all right, what about a Charger Scat Pack? I looked all over locally, and I could not find one with the red suede. I wanted the red guts.
Yeah,
I wanted it so bad, and I could not find one. Um,
I love that thing.
yeah, no, that's cool. So let me ask you this. So
hmm
you're a Mopar girl. You have old
Yeah,
Mopars, you have new Mopars. Do you see I feel like there is a divide in the Mopar community when I go to shows. It seems like the new stuff's over here and the old stuff is over here. Do you see
yeah,
that too?
yes.
And
And
how
I'll
can we
tell
bridge that
you,
gap? How can we bridge the gap?
I'm a traditionalist.
Hmm.
If I had to pick today between my 19 and my 72, I'm picking the 72 all day.
Yeah, you
There's
are.
something so like when I drive my Charger, it's almost like church, like,
Church of Mopar. I like it.
yeah, it's like religious. And that sounds so silly, but you're a Mopar guy, so you know what I'm talking
Oh no,
about.
I
Like
absolutely
it's
know what
just
you're talking about.
when I hop in my Challenger, I know I'm gonna get where I'm going really fast. I'm gonna play really loud music, windows down, you know, what a, my iced latte in the cup holder. Like it's a different experience. And when I have at all Mopar show, we break it into classics and modern for voting. And you pick your favorite classic and you pick your favorite modern.
Mhm.
And everybody always votes on the classics. And I'll always get like maybe 5 to 10 of the 300 ballots back. And under modern, they write "Who cares?" or "They all suck" or
Oh
whatever.
man,
And I'm like,
come
y'all,
on.
like spade a spade. Yes, they're two completely different beasts, but we
Yeah.
need both of them. And as a younger person in the classic car hobby,
Hmm.
if we can if we can save a person of my generation from getting a Honda Civic and making it sound like a lawnmower because we get them in a Scat Pack, get
Yeah.
them in a Scat Pack. This
Yeah.
doesn't seem like a hard equation for me.
Yeah.
Oh, carburation, while I love it, is not something that everybody can just hop behind the wheel of and fire off. Like
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
people, that's just not some people's gig, but they still like the car culture.
Yeah.
So let them have their end of the car culture. I have not done a single modification to my Challenger. It is exactly the way I drove it off the lot. I don't feel the need to put colory lights on it or decals or whatever. But for some people,
Yeah.
that gives them a place in the car culture. So let them have a place in the car culture because, they're paying my bills. One, I sell those things for a living.
We're gonna talk about that too.
And two, like uh, everything must evolve as long as we don't forget where we came from.
Mhm.
We came from late 60s, early 70s muscle. That's what
Yeah.
birthed the Scat Packs and Hellcats.
Yeah.
So, like, I think right now you have to have one and the other. And right now we should be fighting like hell for the guys driving the new stuff because this shift towards electric cars is really putting the modern end aspect of our hobby in a lot of danger.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
As two people that didn't make Chief Donut Maker, we can sit here and say electric sucks, right? Can we say
Electric
that?
does it. Yeah, I was watching my mouth so hard because I was like, I can't talk any bit of anything bad because
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you know that they're gonna push. But then they picked a girl whose uncle did her burnout, and I was like, done. Hate EVs.
Oh yeah,
Got that off my chest.
yeah, I watched a lot of them, and I put mine out there. I knew, and to be honest, I wish I hadn't because I thought about it, and some of the things I've said on the podcast could be controversial, and I was like, oh man. And then if you did, as cool as it would be, if I ever see some sort of success with this podcast, I don't ever want to be able to credit somebody else for that. And it's like, oh well, if he hadn't been Chief Donut Maker with 150 grand and had Dodge's help, then blah blah blah. So to be honest, it was for me it was a blessing in
I
disguise
mean,
because I would have
yeah.
been under the corporate, like, hey.
And the more I think about it, like I was totally like $150,000. I'm gonna buy my dad a new Power Wagon, and he's gonna park it next to his Power Ram, and it's gonna be
Yeah,
this cool story.
yeah,
And I had all these like sort of daydreams about it, but I was like you too. Like if you look at all those people, and this is not a diss to them because
sure.
I hate when I toss my stuff on the internet and people diss me. I just think it's rude. But like
Sure.
if you look at the people that they picked, and I out of curiosity watched all the videos,
Me too.
it lacks authenticity. Like
Okay. See, I said the same thing.
nobody in those videos has busted knuckles.
Mm.
Nobody in those videos has, winched a project car onto a trailer. No, and it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. So your daddy bought you a Hellcat,
Mm.
and my parents wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. Have taught me a lot of things about life, and earning my own stuff is one of the most important things they've taught me. So I can't get down with the girl whose dad buys her a Hellcat because where's the pride? Where's the fuzzy feeling when you get behind the wheel of that thing? Like,
Yeah.
and I just think that I don't know. I would rather be me posting pictures on Miss Mopar, saying what I want to say.
Hell yeah.
And my dad will have to wait till I find truck money some other how. So
Yeah. I just remember watching the first one I watched, and I looked at it with an open mind. I know there's a young gal on there that's a drag racer and stuff, and it seems like she's my pick personally because she has some legit history with the cars, and she's been behind the wheel on the 1320 running the drag strip. That's cool. I respect her. I'd love to get her on the show. But one of the guys was talking about, I even had a podcast. I was like, that's funny because I never heard of it. So it must not have been a Mopar podcast, dude. It must not be very good because I couldn't find it. So
well, and that's the other thing that I was saying. I'm like, how are you going to pick people who like, okay, cool, your pop drives a Bel Air. That's cool. In the grand scheme of classic car culture, that certainly was a big player, but like, it's not classic car donut maker.
I just in my vision, I was like, if they pick me, I know I'm probably going to be standing there with Miss Mopar, and I'm like, well, I lost this one, so like, you've got everything, you've got the old stuff and new stuff. It would have been fun. It would have been fun. You would have had it in the back. I would have lost. It would not have even been pretty, but I would have tried.
But when I was thinking, like, I was saying to people, like, okay, let's just say we get top 10. Like,
sure.
I was looking at it as like, I really want to meet some cool, like-minded people.
Yeah.
And I would have been super bummed if I got picked and the people that got picked were the people that I had to hang out with.
Yeah. No, I think Dodge missed an opportunity. That's just
they most certainly missed an opportunity. And I think, like, I get it. It was like a marketing attempt.
Sure. Yeah.
But who's buying the cars? Us diehards.
Yeah.
Like, I won't front with anybody.
Yeah.
I would buy another new Challenger because for the purpose in my life that the new Challenger serves is I like it. I'm going to buy another new Ram because that purpose that it serves, coming out of the mouth of a traditionalist, but also coming out of the mouth of somebody who sells cars and is in trade-ins all day long.
Yeah.
The product that our brands are serving up is far superior than the competitors. So
Yeah, they
whatever.
had the entire package with you. New stuff, old stuff. She sells them. What else do you want? You know what I
Right?
mean?
I'm
Uh,
already an ambassador.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm like, maybe that's the problem. They're just like, she's just gonna keep doing it for free.
I that may be that may. Let's uh let's talk about your job. I've been wanting to
Okay.
get somebody in the business for a while because I talked.
Yeah.
If you go back and listen to the podcast, I tried to buy a scat pack and I could not work a deal on this. Now, maybe just one of those stubborn people that goes in and I will only pay this much. I'm one of those people. And I walked away from so many deals for like, okay,
Well, were you walking away from them pre-pandemic or post-pandemic?
this
Because
was
the
kind of
pandemic
pre.
has shifted the entire market.
This was pre-shutdown. It was like right on the cusp of everything going crazy, right? So I had money, and one of the things that irked me. Now, I hope you've never done this, but I want to get your opinion on this. So,
Okay.
it's like everybody's being a little bit more careful. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try working this deal online. So I worked this deal. We worked the numbers online. Everything is worked out. I already have a loan for the car, for the amount, everything. All I'm doing is going down there to sign paperwork because I said, look, I know it's a pandemic. I have a 1-year-old. I'm not trying to let her sit. I know how this car deal stuff works. I
Yeah.
don't want to sit there forever.
Hours.
You have a deal. You've sold a car. I just want to sign the stuff, but I got to test drive it first just to make sure everything's kosher. Sign everything and will hand me the key. Here's my trade in, blah, blah, blah. So I get down there and the sales girl was nice. And she starts asking my wife and I questions, name, stuff like the standard stuff at first. And it started getting a little bit more credit reporty type stuff. And I was like,
Yeah.
and I already had a loan. Now I understand they could probably get a couple extra points down, pad their pockets a little bit. I get it. I get it. But the thing is, I'm not there for that. I already bought the car
Right.
basically. So the car's in the showroom and it's a used scat pack. And I'm like, "Can I drive the car?" And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, we'll move it out, but first I need some of this information." And she's taking all this stuff and I'm like, "Hold on. You're not running my credit, are you? Because I already got approved for a loan. I've already got this thing lined up, right?" "Oh, no, not at all, not at all." So 2 hours waiting and I'm like, "Can I drive this car or what?" And my wife is sitting we're sitting there in the showroom. My wife and my kid are I'm starting to get impatient. I'm the car guy. I love buying cars. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm seeing my wife go, "What's going on? What's taking so long?" And I went up. I was like, "Can I drive the car? I mean, what are you guys doing? This has
Yeah.
never happened to
They're
me
holding
before."
it hostage in the
They
showroom.
they were, and all of a sudden, my wife starts getting emails. Boom, boom. They ran our credit, and I was like, "Hey guys, did you run my credit after I asked you not to?" "Yeah, but blah blah blah." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Give me the keys to my trade-in. I'm out of here." That they had the car sold. All they had to do was just let me drive it, which I did drive it, but there was still a wait after that. After I got back, I was still waiting for another 45 minutes. And then that's when my wife started getting boom, boom, hit with the credit report. I was like, that's the last thing I wanted to do. That's why I went to my bank and a bank that I trust
Yeah.
and I've worked with before. I was like, why would you do that? Is it be honest? Be honest. Is
I've
it just
never
a
done that.
do you think that they were
My
trying to
dealer won't do that, but
do you think they
well,
were
yeah,
trying to pad that the
they
points?
want their
Yeah,
finance back, which
yeah.
whatever.
That's
But
scandalous, right? I feel like that was
yes,
scandalous. Yeah.
I love my job for a bunch of reasons. My boss is super cool. He's one of the owners of our dealership, and he's sort of given me free reign to mold my selling process to
Cool.
how suits me. So, usually you walk into a dealer and you meet the receptionist, and then she introduces you to a sales guy, and then he shows you the car, and then the general manager gives you the pricing, and then you go back to finance. So like you've been with five people,
Yeah.
and I've been given the opportunity to sort of streamline that. So I greet my customers, I show them the car, I explain the features to them, we agree on price, we sit down and take credit if
Hmm.
applicable.
Yeah,
A
sure.
lot of people pay cash these days, and a lot of people secure their own financing because
Hmm.
everything has been made so internet savvy with the pandemic. They sign their paperwork with me, and then I go out and I sit in the car and I pair their phone and show them features and whatever. So that, I think, gives people the opportunity to feel more comfortable
Yeah. No,
with
absolutely.
me. And it creates a relationship where when they need an oil change, they text me and they say, "Hey Mick, can you schedule my oil change?" Or when they have a
Yeah.
blowout on I-95, they text me and they say, "Hey Mick, can you see if I have tire and wheel coverage?" And
Yeah.
like those people are going to come back to me for the next
Yeah.
car, and they bring their
Absolutely.
friends and their family. So
Yeah.
I think being an enthusiast of the car culture just in general, um, I don't want somebody to have a bad experience.
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
ever want somebody to be like, "Oh, I love my Dodge, but buying that Dodge was a pain in the ass."
Yeah. Yeah.
I want people to be like, "I love my Dodge, and buying my Dodge was such a cool,
Yeah.
seamless experience that you should go to Mickey and get a Dodge from her." Like, so I don't vibe good on these bad practices because it
No.
gives salespeople a bad name.
It does, and it's funny because I've met some really cool salespeople.
Yeah,
Some really
there
I mean,
are
you're one of
some.
them. I have friends that are salespeople. I have friends
Mhm.
that are, like, giving me the inside of the because they used to do the old school Foursquare and move
Yeah.
numbers around, and I'm like, "Look,"
Uh-huh.
and I had this tactic when I went to a dealership because some, they still do it old school. They have a bunch of guys out front, some are smoking, some are texting
Yeah.
or whatever, and then they
Some
see
are
you.
wearing their short sleeve button ups, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Welcome to 2022, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Join us."
yeah, you see the guy with the hairy chest with the gold chains and stuff,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you want sports car? We get you sports car." Um, I loved going there and seeing those guys, and all of them look at you when you drive in. I used to get out of the car and I'd go, "Up, up, here I
Yeah.
am." And
Here
they're
I
like,
am,
"All
give
right, he
me
knows the business."
attention.
So, thankfully, sometimes they just come up to me and be like, "Hey, if you wanna see anything, just let us know," because they you know, a sucker I'm sure they have suckers go on those lots all the time, and I've seen it in action. I'm like, I feel bad because 'cause I'm listening to these people just get worked, and I'm like, "Man," you know,
Yeah. And
it's
why
a
do you wanna work somebody? I
I
mean,
don't
in
understand it.
any profession, like, if I feel treated unfairly anywhere, let's
Mhm.
just say at the gym or at a restaurant, like, I'm gonna be like, "I'm gonna go back there." And I'm gonna tell my friends, like, "You wouldn't believe this." And I never wanna be somebody's complaint.
Yeah, no,
And
absolutely.
it doesn't, so much of the process, and we saw a huge shift with the pandemic when we were
Mhm.
made to do everything online. In our county, people couldn't even go on test drives.
Wow.
So people were coming out of leases or having wrecks and needing new cars, and they couldn't even drive what they were buying. And at first you're like, "Oh my God." But then it made this like weird seamless shift to online buying
Mhm.
where, I sometimes meet my customers for the first time like you when they come to pick up the car.
Nice.
And you know, you're giving people the option to, instead of coming to my dealership and looking at my inventory or apparently my lack thereof inventory,
Yeah.
they're sitting on their iPad and they're typing in Scat Pack
Mhm.
and they're seeing every Scat Pack in 20 miles of them.
Yeah.
Now, right now, it might not, inventory is just so
Yeah,
weird,
sure,
but
sure.
they can shop so many places at once. So why wouldn't you want to set yourself apart and create this stellar experience so
Mhm.
that when some random says, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking, I might want to order a Ram 1500," and then somebody says, "Well, hey, I know a girl who's going to make your experience
Yeah,
just wicked above and beyond."
yeah,
So that's sort of what I go for. And I if somebody's like, maybe the GMC, maybe the Ram, I want them to buy the Ram.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and again, I don't get paid by the brand
Mhm.
to say this stuff. I just really do like. I want I want our brands to be on the road for as long as they possibly can because I want my kid to be able to be like, "Yeah, that's the car I want when I grow up."
Yeah,
I don't have a
absolutely.
kid, so
Mhm.
I need some longevity here.
Well, I do wanna SRT Sean, thank you for saying, plug the dealership because I do if you can, I want you to plug where you work so that people can come buy a car from Mickey.
Yes, come check me out. I'm at Lansdale Auto Group in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania. We're just north of Philadelphia,
Okay,
on Route 309, and we also host the All Mopar show there. Um,
nice.
so you can
Is
come see
the
us
owner,
there.
an enthusiast?
As the director of the All Mopar show, I am an owner and enthusiast of the
Oh,
brand. But yeah, I get
So
to
the
run
the
it.
owner the owner of the dealership, is he one of those
Oh,
Mopar owner guys that has like a bunch of cool Mopars,
no.
or is he's just a business guy?
Yeah, he's just a business. And my
Huh?
boss is like, he used to be a pro surfer. So he's just a cool guy.
Okay, yeah.
um,
In Pennsylvania?
yes.
Okay.
um, so I think that's also why we're a little bit atypical as far as our approach to things, because he's
Yeah.
just like chill. But it's three brothers that own the business. Their father started the business
Okay.
back in '67, so kind of
Cool.
when
Yeah.
everything was just getting really awesome. Um, and they're not really car guys. Like they would rather be golfing or
Wow.
or on their boat or surfing.
So are
So
you the enthusiast at the
I'm
dealership?
the
Yeah.
enthusiast.
That's
Like
awesome.
when somebody comes in and they're like, "Oh, I have a '67 Dodge." They're like, "Oh, go see Makayla."
Yeah. That's
So
awesome. Now
yeah.
let me ask you this, because like I said, I have friends in the business, and one of them, I mean, he was working at a Chevy dealership, and my wife really wanted a Grand Cherokee, so he's like, "I can find you one. I got access to all sorts of inventory." If somebody was looking for something specific that maybe they had a specific year, like I want a 2015 Hellcat, blah blah blah. Can you go through other inventory like at auctions and stuff and see what you can find them? Are you willing to do that?
I mean, I'll go whatever mile I could possibly go for my customers. We're a
Yeah.
family-owned dealership, so we don't have like
Oh, okay.
we're just one location.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
I
sort
see.
of pigeonholed to
Hmm.
accessing auctions and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes auction people think, "Oh, you got my car at the auction," but I'm like, those are cars that are coming off of lease.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Especially now with people who are finding equity in their leases and are popping out a little bit early, you actually have access to some pretty cool cars coming through the auction.
Awesome.
So,
Tell me a funny experience about being a salesperson that you've had.
oh, I have so many. I sometimes say I'm going to write a book. So we sell the Fiat brand
Yeah.
also, and they manufactured a stick shift vehicle for quite a while. So I was getting a lot of customers who were like, "I really want to drive a stick, but no other brand has it." It's like maybe Mini, I don't know. Um, so I have a guy walking. It's summertime. I have all the doors in our Fiat studio, it's called, all of them open. Guy comes in, he's like, "I'm in a stick shift car." He, I don't know what he did, fried the clutches in this car. Like, I'm like sitting in my office, I'm like, "Is something burning?"
Oh no.
Here comes this guy, just I still to this day can't wrap my brain around what he could have done to that car. I don't know if maybe he was trying to start out in third. I don't know. But he did end up buying a car for me, but he got an automatic. But his son was with him, and he was so embarrassed.
Oh man.
He was just bummed. He's like my customer. The son was like, "Dad, let's just go." Like, but
Oh,
here's this car and this like just billow of smoke.
jeez.
Yeah, I don't. Yep.
All right.
So just like instances like that, like you're like, what are you
Yeah.
thinking? People who are like, oh no, I know how to pair my phone up to Uconnect, and 3 days later they come back and they're like, no, I really do need your help. I'm like, yeah, that's why we sit in the car with you.
I might call you.
There's
I've been having problems with mine. I'm like, why are you disconnecting? What's happening here?
oh,
Do they
update your phone.
Okay.
Make sure your phone is
Yeah.
updated.
Okay. Because
But a lot
mine has a problem
Uconnect
sometimes.
is a super user friendly infotainment system. I
Hmm.
find I really like it in comparison to other options that are on the market.
Hmm.
Um, for our Fiat lineup, we also sold the Spider, which was a combo car with Mazda. So they
Okay.
use the Mazda infotainment system, and
Mm.
I loathed it in comparison to Uconnect. Like Uconnect was just so much more easy to navigate, and the accessibility of like moving your nav phone all to the bottom, um, I really like. But people tell me that they know exactly what they're doing because their dad's brother has one and he knows.
So
So
how would you feel if if you saw a little Fiat roll into the dealership and he had Mopar stickers all over it, how would you feel about that?
So, the traditionalist in me is like, sir. But also, the salesperson in me is like, half the parts on that car are stamped with Mopar.
Yeah, no, it is.
And you're like, I don't have an argument. So
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
whatever. Keep
yeah.
buying oil filters.
That's funny. Okay, I have. So, do you get to drive all the cool stuff that comes in?
We do.
Nice,
I
nice.
drove a TRX, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that
I
probably fit you
really
pretty
think
good. You like
I
it, huh?
really think I want a TRX.
Yeah. You seem like a
Like,
TRX type of girl.
I just love pickup trucks so much. I have a 1500 Bighorn, and it's just like, ah, I love that thing. So I'm like, if I could mush the fun parts of my Challenger with the convenience of a pickup truck,
Mm,
that would be
yeah.
like, why wouldn't I want to do that?
Yeah. One of my buddies told me that the power in those things is just crazy because you're in this giant truck and the thing
Yes,
just hauls ass.
hold. So there's a 500-mile break-in period. You
Hmm.
probably know from the
Yeah.
research that you've done on.
Hmm.
So like when I was driving on the lot, it wasn't even at full performance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was still within the break-in period, and I was still like, wow, like it's just it's like
Yeah.
driving a different beast. I drive a pickup truck every day, and
Yeah.
something about getting in that thing with like the way the fenders bend out,
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, this is sexy chap.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah,
So you have a great job that you love. I mean, that's
I do. It's like
that's
it's
awesome.
been a weird time, and with the whole electric car thing, like, you know, I just try to soak it all in while I can because you just never know.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure it'll still be fun for a while because it's not like as soon as the
it
electric cars come
has
out
to
that
be
the
fun.
all the Hemi cars are just going to disintegrate. They're still going to be there.
Right? And we saw it back in the 70s, like when they made the shift from big muscle,
Hmm.
and we've somehow found our way back to big muscle, and even though
Yeah.
it's a modern version. So like I'm hopeful that whatever this is will run its course, and that it'll accommodate the people that want it
Yeah. Yeah.
and just leave us people that want to just burn a lot of gas to burn a lot of
Do
gas.
you get do you get inside information? Like, are you going to know what this new car, this electric car, is going to be before people like me and everybody else?
Um, Not a whole bunch. Back in the day, dealers really like, I think again with the internet, like, so my pop-up talks frequently about how when he was working at the dealer and they would unveil a new vehicle, for example, like, let's say the Challenger back then, um, it would be this whole thing, hush hush, and they would bring him in, and nobody saw him until they had this big party, and they took the cover off of it. And I almost wish I lived in that time because I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
there would be something so elite about
Yeah.
being at one of those events.
Yeah.
But now everything's on the internet, like before
Yeah. Yeah.
before it even really is true. Like, and then I think the brands like Chrysler just posted something about a concept car, like they're trying to stay current, so they're posting stuff before it's
Hmm.
even really a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't get to have unveiling parties, which I think would be
Yeah.
so much fun.
Right. Um, I do want to open the chat for questions and stuff. I have been seeing some of your
Okay.
questions, but I've been trying to engage with Michaela. So if you have any questions for her, I see one. I think we already answered it, but I do kind of want to. I do want to ask uh, the question in a different way. So we already know that she'd rather have gasoline and carburation, but I have to ask you. So say this. We'll just say that the electric muscle car comes to your dealership.
Yeah.
You get in it, and let's just say that it's beautiful, the most gorgeous car you've ever seen, aside from LBD. Okay,
Okay.
let's say that this thing is for a modern car, for something electric. You're like, wow, that thing's gorgeous. You get in it, and it is the most amazing experience you've ever had as far as speed and agility. Are you sitting there going, but it doesn't sound and it doesn't feel like a muscle car,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Hands down. There you go, Dodge.
100%. Like, I read somewhere that one of the big heads of one of our local dealers said something like, "Well, they'll just add the sound
Oh
artificially.
no, don't do that.
And I'm like, no, that again, like we're losing the authenticity of what is so fun about the hobby. Like,
Yeah.
don't do that, y'all, please.
All right. Well, you're probably the person that I know now that will probably get the first chance to drive it because it'll probably be coming to your dealership. So as soon as you drive one of those things, you have to report back to us and let us know
Okay,
how much it sucked. Okay.
I will. I can already tell you it's gonna suck a lot, but I will. I'm just such a traditionalist. Like
Sure.
I remember when they shifted from the um the older style trucks to the new DT, which is 2019 and newer.
Yeah.
And I got in trouble at work because I went on Twitter and I started spouting my mouth.
Oh no.
And my boss was like, "You can't say these things. You have to sell these trucks." And like
Yeah.
here I am now, and I really love my DT.
Hmm.
But like it took me a second to get over that getting away from the like crosshair grill because it's all that I knew. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the front end of the Dodge to me. So, those little maybe I was wrong. I'm willing to admit, but I'm just not gonna be willing to no, not about the EVs.
Ian Hart, thank you for your question. He asks, have you done any training on the new 6 cylinders yet? I'm assuming he's talking about the turbocharged 6 cylinder that's like supposed to replace the 5.7 Hemi.
I have not. We kind of get our trainings like a little bit late. Like
Okay.
for example, when Wagoneer hit the floor, we
Yeah.
hadn't had training on it yet.
Oh my
So
God. Wow.
so a lot of my stuff were like self-taught. We're gonna
Yeah.
go drive them and
Yeah.
rip them around,
Cool.
and I use a lot of customer feedback because they're the ones that are driving them to go get groceries or
Yeah.
using them to haul camper, whatever the vehicle is and stuff. So, um, but I can report back on that as well when I
Awesome.
have
Yeah. No, absolutely.
some more formal training.
Shopcat Industries. Plug your YouTube channel. I've been getting on YouTube myself
Lord,
lately. I really like it.
I
Plug
have
it.
to look at it. I didn't use it until Donut Maker, and then
Okay.
I've gone there every day hustling
Yeah.
likes.
Hustling like
So
that's hilarious. That's a term I've never heard. I love that term.
yeah.
I'm
So
gonna make t-shirts. I'll send you one. It's gonna say hustling likes.
right?
That's
I mean,
funny.
really, what are we doing on here?
Yeah.
Just like
Hustling
my name and
likes, right?
picture so I can sleep well, please. It's Miss Mopar 7172. Same as my Instagram handle,
Okay.
so I'll remember now. But there's like some super old content on there, and then my donut maker video. But some of the old content is like actually pretty cool because it's me and my dad
Oh,
like
cool.
toying around with. There's one video, like a 9-minute video of me and my sisters driving my Charger around the yard because I didn't have tags on it yet. But like, it's kind of fun.
Well,
Fun content. Different content than like your hand on the hip
sure.
pose pictures that we put on Miss Mopar to
You
ignite some sort of conversation.
you definitely need to get on YouTube more and do like lives and like Q&As and
I
stuff.
should.
This is the future. If
It is. It
Screw Chief
really
Donut
is.
Maker, this is the communities that I've watched getting built on YouTube just from live streaming. A couple of my friends started doing it, and I go over there to YouTube because I haven't been on YouTube. I'm a Facebook guy.
Me too. That's how
And
I got my
yeah,
gig going.
yeah.
Facebook.
And I went over to YouTube and I was like, oh, there's something going on here. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going all in on this live streaming stuff because it's fun to get to know people across the country and other Mopar enthusiasts that you wouldn't normally meet. Because like a lot of my own personal friends aren't Mopar enthusiasts. So I had to go out to the internet and meet all these people, which is great because I've met a lot of cool people.
Oh, I've made so many friends. Like way back when, do you remember Allpar? It's still a thing, but it's like it used to be like that was the haven for Mopar knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a picture posted on there of a 71 Roadrunner, and I reached out and I was like, "This car is beautiful. Do you have more photos of it?" Anyways, the guy's like, he's one of my most dearest friends now, and he lives in Minnesota. Like, there's so many. Even like Robert, like we connect at Carlisle from time to time, but he's in Canada and we still are able to have this back and forth. That is really cool.
Yeah, no, he's a cool guy. I had both of him and Berto on my show, and Robert is he was. I don't know if you heard his story about him at like 12 years old going, "I'm gonna have a Viper," and
Yeah.
he went out and got himself a Viper, and then he just like glosses over the fact that he's got more than one. Like,
Yeah.
hey
Like,
man, what's your
and
secret?
he's got this little toy Viper. I don't know if he still has it, but the one that pulls up to our little camp out at Carlisle in this like mini Viper. And I'm like, where'd you get that? But it's super cool and it's such a conversation starter that like
Yeah.
imagine the people he talked to that day just because he was ripping around in this little mini Viper.
Oh
Like,
no, absolutely. I see it on the internet every once in a while. It turns up. It's a little orange mini like Superbird go kart thing, and the guy has
yes,
to lay down inside it. I want one. I don't know how I'm gonna. I don't know how. I'm the big guy. I don't know how I'm gonna
the
fit in it.
closest I'm gonna get to a wing car.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sign me up.
Okay, back to the questions. I'm assuming that Mike here is asking what color your Roadrunner is and what size motor it has.
It's a 340 car, so
Cool.
in 71 you could get a 340 as a no cost upgrade because that's when the emissions crisis was sort of happening. So it's actually kind of a goofball car. So the 340 bench seat pistol grip 4-speed,
God.
8 3/4 rear, and it's a white gut, Hemi orange or tour red as it would be for the Plymouth brand, strobe stripe delete, full
Really?
vinyl top car.
Wow.
So usually in the Roadrunners, you'd see the half vinyl with the
Yeah,
strobe
yeah.
stripe coming down.
Mm.
None of that.
Wow.
Only decal it has on it is the little bird on the deck lid.
Wow, that's cool. Do you have any
Yeah,
documentation on it, like fender tag or anything like that?
I do. I have it all somewhere, and but half of it was eaten away by mice
Oh,
or
yeah.
what have you.
Yeah, sure.
So have to
Pesky mice.
piece it together. But it's,
Okay,
I mean, it's gonna be a beautiful car someday.
awesome. I'm excited. Keep us posted on that one. I love
I
project
will.
cars, and that sounds like that's
Maybe
pretty
that'll be my
badass.
YouTube content. That's
Yes, yes.
That's what you can watch me and Frank, my dad,
You'll
probably
get.
say a lot of bad words
Hey,
and
hey.
and look at things perplexed for a while.
All right, I like it. I'll watch. I'll tune in. Joshua Peterson, what is your opinion of the idea of a hot B engine design? I don't know what he's talking about.
Me neither.
What's a hot? Hey, does anybody know what he's talking about? I don't. Neither one of us do. SRT
We'll
Sean,
come back to that.
does Michaela drag race at Cecil County, Maple Grove? Are you a drag
I
racer? Have you
don't
ever tried
drag
this?
race.
Do you want
No,
to?
I would try it if
Hmm.
but I would need something to drag race, and the 72 is a 318, so we're just cruising.
You don't have to be fast to have fun. So I went out and bought this pile of 73 Roadrunner. Okay, it's a
I was just looking
three-speed.
at pictures of it. What do you
Yeah,
call it? Something goofy. It has a
it's
name.
dumpster fire. My wife named it.
Dumpster
Yeah,
fire.
and then she changed her mind. She's like, "Name it fried chicken." I was like, "You already named it. You can't do that." But it's funny. I got some graphics in the works. It's gonna be funny. But it's a 318 3-speed car, and there's this race. It's presented by the American Hot Rod Association. It's called No Name Nationals. It's for YouTube content creators with 500 or more subscribers. And to get into the race, you have to have 500 subscribers, and it's like a call out, like channels calling each other out. It's all fun and games.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. So if you get that YouTube going,
Yeah.
you want to bring a little black dress out,
Okay, we'll
have
play.
some fun. It's all the way in Sikeston, Missouri, though. I've got to
Nice.
trailer my Roadrunner from Washington State. I think I'm the furthest registered, so I'll be live streaming that journey. And
Yes,
I can't get anybody
document
to go with
that.
me. I can't get
Look,
anybody to co-pilot.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's the
well,
most fun. The journey to get places is the most fun, and I'm gonna
right?
get. Am I taking up time? Are we on the time limit?
No,
Okay.
I was waiting for you to be like, "Hey, I gotta go to bed, dude."
No. So sometimes I found that the most fun in getting places is just trying to get there. For example, in 2012, I got my dad's Chrysler accepted into an invitational display at Carlisle,
Cool.
and we decided to trailer there. We should have just drove it, but it was like everything that could have happened. So 6 miles from home on the turnpike, we have a blowout in the
Oh no.
trailer. So we put this dry rotted spare on it, say a prayer where we go. couple more miles in, my dad's truck catches fire. It was minor. It was fine. We were fine. We got to where we're going.
Wow.
The truck vapor locks. We had to push it. It was also like 110 degrees. We had to push the truck with the Chrysler on an open trailer in the back into the campground.
Oh no.
Skies open up, torrential rain while we're driving this spotless clean car through a gravel campground.
Oh no.
Like, and it's just like, I mean, that's the summary, but all of that took place in 2 hours, and you're just like,
Yeah.
you're like, where does it go from here? Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know, sometimes at the moment, my dad standing on the side of the turnpike, tapping out a small little fire under the hood of his truck with a random sneaker off the
Oh
side
my God.
of the turnpike. Like, at that moment, you're like, we should just turn around and go home. But then you get there and you're like, so this happened. And
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah. Those stories, as much as they suck at the time, it's like they
Yeah,
make such
they're
great
the fun
stories.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fun. That's a crazy story. I know a couple people that have crazy stories like that where it's like, Murphy's Law. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like,
Yep. Sometimes you just like say a prayer once you get home and the car's in the garage and you're like,
you must have do you have all your cars in a garage?
So I bought a house 2 years ago with a 5-car garage.
Oh my God.
And it's a teeny tiny little house, like
Big garage.
2.5 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It's very small, but they ran some sort of electrical business out of here. So they put a big addition on the garage. So,
Nice.
but still, I still have cars in car trailers and stuff stored. And then I have this 69 Power Wagon that doesn't fit anywhere. For Wild and Blue, I had a custom enclosed car trailer built.
Oh wow.
Because it wouldn't fit in a garage. So I think I'm gonna have to get the same thing done for the 69. My neighbors, you know that meme that's like, if you don't have that neighbor, you're that neighbor.
Yeah.
I'm that neighbor.
Me too. The look on their faces when I drove up the street pulling this pile of crap 73 Roadrunner, they're like, there he goes again.
There's our resident redneck over there.
I still think, because I live in one of those like cookie cutter housing developments, and we had an HOA, and I bought my boogie van. I bought a 78 Dodge shorty van, no window, like 70s, like hippie van that I'm trying to build into a mobile podcast studio for events and stuff.
Oh, cool. That's
right?
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. We'll see.
Yeah.
I want to call it the Van Cave. It's going to be pretty fun.
You could drive that thing to Carlisle.
Yeah, I would love to drive that and tow one of my other vehicles. I don't know what, but it'll be fun. At least, and I won't have to pay for motels because I travel a lot for events and stuff for the podcast, and I've stayed in some no-tell motels that I care never to go to again. When you do things on a podcaster budget, you have to pick and choose things. But the whole HOA disbanded. They all moved. And I was like,
good. Bye.
You can thank me, right?
There's like a great little video floating around the internet, and it's like this guy, and there's a woman taking pictures. Have you seen it? She's taking pictures of all his cars, and he's like, "What are you gonna do? Tell the HOA?" And when I moved into my house, I live in the very back of this like hoity-toity development.
Okay.
And the first thing I asked was, is there an HOA? Because they're going to get real tired of me real quick.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Chat seems to be slowing down. Oh, Heavens Mopars. He subbed to your YouTube channel. I will be subscribing to it as well.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard of UTG, Uncle Tony's Garage?
No. Is it a YouTube thing?
It's a YouTube thing.
Dang, I need to get on YouTube more.
You really, I think you'll blow up on YouTube, especially if you start doing content with. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, you don't need to be chief donut maker.
We'll be our own chief donut maker.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, whoops! I didn't scroll down. Let me scroll down here. John Wilburn. He's one of the guys who's putting on. See, John, I'm always promoting the No Name Nationals. Okay. Get a car.
Calling out?
Yeah, he wants to know if you're calling her. She's not qualified yet. We got to get her 500
Yeah, I have
subscribers.
to get 500 subscribers. I have like 200 and something.
Oh, you're close then. Everybody watching this right now, go subscribe to Miss Mopar on YouTube. Let's show her the power of talking Mopars. Let's get her 15 more.
259. Okay.
By the end of the weekend, you might be at 300. You never know.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'll play. I love these kind of things.
Yeah. Don, we're getting in the chat, buddy. Relax. Paul, my buddy Paulie, he wants you to go to Sykeston to watch me blow. I'm going to throw as much nitrous as a little tired 318 can handle. It's going to be ridiculous. I'm going to send it to the moon.
You can't kill those 318s though, so it's going to be a good time.
We're going to try.
You're going to have a good time.
Let's see here. SRT Sean, if you're talking about getting me over 500, a lot of you guys did help me get over 500 subscribers. That was nice. Thank you. I love the 340s. This is my friend Scott, who sold me the Roadrunner. He wants to see the build. Build that car.
Okay, follow my YouTube, I guess. That's where it's all going to take place.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to stay tuned for that. Scott, you'll be my co-pilot. All right. I think Michaela would be a funner ride. 1 car in the garage, 5 in the driveway. Wow. 1 car in the garage, 5 in the driveway, 1 out front on the street, and 4 in the backyard. They invented HOAs. Yes, they did, John. Yes, they did.
Look, we all have a purpose in life. And like sometimes your purpose is to just decorate the world with rusty old classic cars.
It is. I got to ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
I've only had one other female on the show, and that was SRT Jovita. Great show, great person. I like her a lot. Now that I have another woman of Mopar, I have to ask you. You know, I'm assuming you're single. Am I assuming wrong?
I'm single.
Let me ask you. In your dream guy, does he have to have a Mopar, or does he have to have more Mopars than you? What's the criteria? I'm curious.
I don't necessarily know that he has to have more Mopars than me. I'm sitting at 8. So like,
oh my God.
But it's just become such a large part of who I am that I think I own. Maybe he doesn't have to have like classics. Maybe he has a Hellcat. I don't know. Maybe he drives a Ram. But I just think there has to be some appreciation for the hobby there, because it monopolizes my whole life. Mm-hmm. Car shows, Cars and Coffee, Carlisle, working on the cars, selling cars, running car shows. Like, I do some yoga, and I like to walk. I like to hike outside. But like, if somebody's gonna be like, "What are your hobbies?" They're all very Mopar centric. So like, and don't come plant me with your Toyota Tacoma either, because I'm not down. Like, I'm a Dodge girl, so.
Okay. Melody says a Mopar, a beard, and love country music.
Melody's my super dear friend from Alabama, and that's my gig: a Mopar, beard, and sing me some Waylon Jennings.
Awesome. Melanie's got you pinned. Mm-hmm. If anybody has any more questions in the chat, feel free to chime in right now. Other than that, we're going to get ready to shut it down. I don't want to take Michaela's whole Friday night.
You're good. But, I've had a blast chatting with you.
No, you're welcome back anytime. This is an open forum. If you ever see that I'm live and you want to come talk shit or something, feel free.
Okay.
You know, we open door policy. We welcome anybody. Crazy characters, people like that. It's funny. Heavens Mopars, Michaela, I'm at 290 subs. I'll race you to 500 subs. It would be cool to see you at the No Name Nationals. You're going to get harassed about going to the No Name Nationals now.
Okay.
Everybody sub to Michaela. Get her to 1,000 so she can get monetized and start making some money so we can get her out there.
Awesome.
And then you can all blame me when she steals the show. All right. I think we can end it on that. Let's end it on a good note. Michaela, thank you so much for joining us here on Talking Mopars. Like I said, you're welcome back anytime. I'll probably be harassing you. Hey, we need you to come back on the show and tell us about this EV BS going on.
Hey, I'm always happy to talk Mopar. So
Yeah,
you let me know. I'm here.
sounds good. Go ahead and plug all your social medias and now your YouTube channel.
Yeah, my YouTube channel, Miss Mopar 7172. Also my Instagram handle. I'm big on Facebook. If you type in facebook.com/Miss Mopar. Twitter, also Miss Mopar 7172. I think that's all the social media I really have. I don't do TikTok or those kind of things.
I did for a
But
little bit just to try to promote my show, and I was like, "What am I doing here?"
right, I'm like, I can't edit videos. That's not my gig.
Oh man, um, John Wilburn. Hey, let's talk a minute about that. John Wilburn says he likes the forearm revolver.
Thanks.
Michaela,
Oh,
like many of us, is a gun enthusiast, correct?
I am.
Are you willing to share what? I mean, you study criminal
So
justice,
this,
I imagine.
so yeah, I have a degree in criminal psychology. My sister's a cop.
Oh, cool.
And I'm a patriot, so I think everybody
Yeah.
should really cherish their right to bear arms. I'm certainly going to bear mine, if need be. And this is my 686. And well, I mean, just like, I don't know, people are like, why would you put a gun on your arm? Why wouldn't you? Like, just be strong and be tough and go out with a bang and stand up for what you believe in. And that's why I put it on my skin.
Do you have Mopar tattoos too?
I do.
No.
I have a Mopar M here. I have a
Okay.
devil heart. I have my the front grill emblem for my 72 on my leg.
There you go.
Yeah.
Polly. So every man's man in the chat that doesn't have a Mopar tattoo, I want you to understand that Michaela has more than you.
Yes, I have. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, there it is. There you go, guys. That's all you're getting.
Like a weird angle. I probably looked way chunkier there than I.
You
But
sure did not. You sure did not.
um,
That's funny. Actually, the guy who called me out, his name's Dustin, and he's from Dutch Guy's Garage on YouTube. He called me out. I didn't have a car to race. I had to go buy this Roadrunner. So I bought this car to race, and it's not even ready to go. I got to get it ready. I got like 160 days or something like that, something crazy. But I wanted to up the stakes, and I said, all right, loser has to get tattooed. It has to be a Mopar related tattoo. So instead of money, we're racing for tattoos. So whoever loses,
hey,
and I would get it. I would get a tattoo anyway. The thing is, I didn't realize that Dustin has no tattoos. So if he loses,
so
he's got to.
his first tattoo would be a Mopar tattoo.
Yeah, and it would
And
be
do
because he
you get
lost
to
to me.
pick it if he loses?
You know, I thought about that, and I'm not that much of a jerk, especially if the guy doesn't have a tattoo. I just let it be a Mopar tattoo, whatever you want. I'm not that much of a jerk, but if you don't have a tattoo, I think it's a pretty fun. You know, it'll be a fun memory. If I lose, I'll get a tattoo, and he's got a 78 Plymouth Volare. It's a petty kit car, so it's got like the wide fenders and stuff, like the crazy kit cars they had back then. Big 43 on the side. So I was like, I'm crazy enough. I'll get the Richard Petty 43 tattooed somewhere. I don't know. I'm crazy. You're talking to a guy with a neck tattoo. I'll do something stupid.
Well, and tattoos are fun. I honestly forget about mine most of the time, half the time. You know what I mean? Like they just become conversation topics.
How often are you out and about? Like maybe one of your tattoos is showing, someone's like calls you out on it, like, oh, Mopar,
huh? Like this one's like a beach tattoo. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like that's what. But people always be like, "What's on your leg?" And I have my Charger grill emblem like to size. To if I stand next to the car, they like line up. And so that's always a conversation topic. But I feel like most people that know me, they're just like, that's the Mopar girl. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
so they sort of expect it.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody, I want to see Michaela at the No Name Nationals. So go subscribe. Tell her you want to see her there, and we'll try to get her there.
When is this happening?
It is September 30th and October 1st. It's a Friday and a Saturday.
Sounds fun to me.
Yeah, if we could get you out there, we'd love to have you. I don't know, John Wilburn, if you could chime in real quick, how many women are registered for this event? Because I don't know about you guys, but I'd love to see some women drag racing at this show. If you come out and you don't bring a car, you can drag race the dumpster fire. I'll let you I'll let you rip that thing up. We'll put all the nitrous to it. If I can't blow it up, I'll let you blow it up.
Okay, cool.
Miles, you can find her at Miss Mopar 7172
Yep.
on YouTube.
I must have started that when I just had the 2.
All right, guys. We'll let Michaela get back to her night. Thank you once again, Miss
Thank
Mopar,
you.
for joining us. And remember, everybody, no Mopar left behind. And John Wilburn says I register by channel. We have a few, but no hard numbers. All right. Well, I'm gonna harass Michaela and see if she wants to go to the No Name National.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Stay safe.
Thank you. You also.
Mopar or no car. We'll see you guys later.
Amen.